Hello, good morning to you guys. First of all, I wanted to thank Rosenthal and the nice people at ICFJ for this opportunity to come here, especially Mr. Patrick Butler. And I'm going to talk today about TruthBuzz projects in Brazil. TruthBuzz is an initiative by the International Center for Journalists, and we work in close partnership with newsrooms in several countries. It's Brazil, Nigeria, Indonesia, India, and here in the US as well. It has the support from the Craig Newmark Philanthropies. So what we do, basically, we do some consulting with the newsrooms to understand what they need and what they want to do. We do a lot of researching to really get to feel how the things are going in journalism right now. And we also help with the development of projects and technologies. In Brazil, we work with Aos Fatos, which is a leading fact-checking organization. And we also work with Folha de São Paulo, which is one of Brazil's main newspapers. Today, I'm going to talk about the projects we did with Aos Fatos because of the topic of this presentation. So, in my opinion, and from the research we did, automation for fact-checking has to be three things. It has to be simple. It doesn't need to be like the fancy coding and cool interface. Of course, it can be all that, but it can be simple, it can be cheap to make, it can be really easy to use. That's the good thing about it, because if you do something really complex that takes a lot of time to develop, and the journalists at the organizations cannot understand it, so it creates a barrier for the product to be used. And it got to be replicated. You've got to be able to replicate this for other projects as well. So that's the three main things I think automation for fact-checking must be. One example is this Twitter monitoring bot we developed for to check our president's Twitter account. So every time he tweets, it got mirrored in this project here, and every time he deletes a tweet, it has a tag that says it's a deleted tweet. And before anyone can say, oh, this is infringement of Twitter rules, there's a clear understanding that public officials everywhere, and this is Twitter talking, not me, that deleted tweets from public authorities must be kept or can be kept, right? So we do this to keep the government accountable, especially in Twitter, which is our president's main social media platform. To make policy and fire ministers and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, basically, right? Yeah. We also have this fact-checking aggregator, also to fact-check the claims of our president. So we go to a Google Sheets and we put the rating of a fact-checking claim. We also put the quotes and put everything there, and it creates like a self-updating chart. We never touch these tools, all right? It's all automated. So we just go there and put the fact-checking claim, we put the rating, and we say if it's true or false or whatever, and it self-updates this chart right here. We also have this live debate tool, which everyone who did live anything, you need a self-updating tool. You can't just go to the CMS and click publish all the time you want to publish some claim or some fact check. So I helped developing this tool so they can simply use a Google Sheet, and they go there and they put the claims, and it goes to the website immediately, and it self-updates itself. You don't need to ever touch the CMS to make it work. So what do those projects have in common, like overall, right? They all are used for fact-checking or for journalist organizations, but what do they have in common? First, they're simple, right? They're totally white label. They're no powered by this company or anything. It's just really simple development that we use. It's very clean. We don't need a lot of robust server-side kind of development. It's just Google Sheet, right? So because it is Google Sheet, anybody in the team can go in there and just use it and understand how it works. You can edit. You don't need to go to the back end of our website or talk to our developer to fix a lot of the stuff. Of course, if it crashes or if the code is wrong, it won't work. But usually, you don't need a lot of work to just use the tool or to fix something that you published wrong or a typo or whatever. You just go there and edit yourself. And of course, it's replicable. Did I say it right? Replicable? Yeah, it's replicable. Anytime we want, we can make these tools appear for another purpose again. We can use the Twitter bot not only for the president, but for other stuff, for other politicians, for corporate Twitter account, from anyone else. I don't know. You can use it, a lot of this stuff. Of course, it's all open source, right? So anybody can use it as well. Of course, we can have more sophisticated stuff as well. We don't need to only use Google Sheets. So we have Fatma bot, which is a Twitter bot that push content to Twitter users that shared some URL that contains false information. It was developed by our good friend here of ICFJ fellow, Pedro Burgos. And this is more sophisticated. It uses Twitter API. It pushes news through something. It pushes the links through a database. We keep records of those URLs that we fact check, and they contain fake information. So it's more sophisticated kind of tool. But of course, it's good to have all this bulky, robust development behind all these projects. But overall, I think simplicity is the key for automation because it costs less money. It's faster to develop. All the projects I showed you before, it took me 2 weeks to develop in full. Of course, you tweak every now and then, you make it better, some aspects of it. But usually, it's very cheap for organizations to implement that, right? That being said, I'm here for any questions you might have. Thank you very much for this.